How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and a little change of pace. I'm in beautiful Evergreen, Colorado, with my boy Sean Murphy, somewhere in Colorado. I'm sure you recognize him. We're here to give you the real pros and cons to living in Evergreen, Colorado, and we're starting right now. So Sean and I have each been hosting channels for multiple years now, and as two individuals who love helping people like yourselves move to the state, we figured what better way to be of hopefully assistance for any of you thinking of moving to Evergreen than to do a video together.
Beautiful little collaboration. I love it. Let's do it.
So Sean himself actually lived in Evergreen for a year. So seeing as Sean himself lived in Evergreen for over a year, spends a ton of time up here as well. Let's start with some of your favorite pros. What do you love about Evergreen?
I think Evergreen, Colorado has hands down, for a mountain town, the best like downtown area.
Yeah.
The lake here, you could spend an afternoon walking around the lake and then go into Cactus Jack's or Little Bear, Murphy's, go grab a drink, sit by the creek.
Little Bear is one of the most fantastic like mountain dive bars, live music. Get yourself a burger. Every time my boys come into town from out of state, they always want to go to Little Bear.
Yeah, Little Bear is sweet. It used to be a church, and I heard Willie Nelson used to play there.
I didn't know that. I did hear about the Willie Nelson part.
Fun facts.
Didn't know about the church part. I do always feel a little biblical when I'm in there.
Yeah. So I'd say like spending an afternoon up here, whether it be in the winter if you're ice fishing, or in the summer walking the lake and just having an awesome time by the water here, it is the best mountain town for that.
So as we were talking about, Evergreen has a fantastic downtown area. It's just this one lane in, one lane out road. You got Little Bear, the bar we were talking about. There's Muddy Buck right there, fantastic coffee shop. And you just have a strip, and it's not long. It's probably 3 city blocks, maybe 4 city blocks, if you will. Some houses at one end, some businesses on the other. But just enough walkability to really enjoy a day, just be down here experiencing it. On the other side, can't get a very good shot of it, but there's a creek down here, so you can walk along that creek. And then you have Evergreen Lake straight up that direction. So just a great experience in general, and that small mountain town feel without having to drive 2 hours into the mountains. Evergreen is also very solid for schools, and that's the feedback you'll get from a lot of people here. They like the school systems here. It is covered by Jefferson County, but for instance, Evergreen High School usually gets pretty good ratings. Niche.com, betterschools.com, you name it. But overall, good schools within Evergreen, be that elementary, middle school, private schools as well, pretty solid here in general. There's also, if we're being realistic, a bit of seclusion to Evergreen. If you have a sphere of people that you know, a mountain town might be fantastic, but it has been challenging for some of the people I've spoken to build relationships, to build community, because it does tend to be a town that is less transit. A lot of people who live here have lived here for a long period of time. They kind of have their groups, they kind of have their friend sphere, if you will, and so breaking into new groups and building that friend base can be challenging. But that's enough for me for right now. Let's go back to Sean and I chatting. Give me an idea. You're spending like a Saturday up here. You get up here in the morning. Walk me through like the perfect Evergreen day.
Well, I'm going to first give a shout out to my Evergreen Jiu-Jitsu. I'm going to start off with some Jiu-Jitsu. Then I'm going to...
That way you can fight off like a grizzly bear.
Right. No, zero chance. Zero chance. Zero chance. I can't even beat the blue belts in Jiu-Jitsu. But when we go get breakfast at the Bread Lounge, it's amazing. Little cafe. Really great food, amazing bread, sweet treats, and then really good coffee. After that, I'm gonna probably come down to the lake. They're gonna have paddleboard rental, canoe rental, so I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on the water, get some of that early day sunshine because I'm super Irish and I will burn midday.
Same.
Yeah, I feel me. So we'll actually mention that. So I'm gonna put sunscreen on before I get in my car, and then when I get here, I'm gonna layer up again because that Colorado sunshine, she's fierce, especially in the summer.
You're burning.
Yep.
Evergreen Lake is also an amazing place to take your pup. We got D'Artagnan here, keeping us company, running the show. Huh.
He loves it. This is his time of year.
So now I'm thinking it's getting afternoon. We've been active a little bit. We got to get something to eat. I'm feeling hungry. What's some of your favorite eateries around Evergreen?
Well, you're in luck because all the places downtown you really can't miss. And so
I agree with that.
if one of them is too crowded, you could just walk, half a block and get to another. But my favorite is Murphy's, not just because that's my last name, but it's right by the creek, great outdoor sitting area, great cocktails.
He has
great
no
food.
ownership in the restaurant, just FYI.
I tried that. I was like, do I get a Murphy discount? They're like, it's my family. And they're like, it was the name of the
They
dog.
don't even knock you to. That was the name of
It's
the
a
dog?
family dog. I'm like, oh.
Little Bear
really.
was a church. Murphy's was a dog. That was the name of my first dog. Just a little fun fact.
So for breakfast, there's a couple good places. You get the Cow Eatery, Wildflower Cafe.
I know that when I'm downtown, I love going to Muddy Buck coffee shop.
Yep.
It's great, right there on the strip, right next to Little Bear. Like good indoor seating, but also a little bit of a patio. I like the fact that downtown Evergreen is that like quintessential one lane in, one lane out road. It's not like this big stretch.
I'll give you a little like local tip too. So there's a parking lot across the street from Cactus Jack's driveway that if you go up in there's a lot of extra parking, because this is an area that on the weekends a lot of people from downtown the Front Range, they love coming up here, so it can get a little bit thick. Locals are gonna hate me for
This
saying
is why I
that.
got it. This is why I got it. See,
I'm gonna
I
get
wouldn't
so
have
much
known
trouble.
that. I wouldn't have known that. Trouble with the locals.
But yeah, then hiking too. So if you don't want to be on the water and you want to hit the hills, we have really great easy hikes over in Elk Meadow area, or you can go to Three Sisters, which is just past the lake, mountain biking as well. So all the outdoor activities over here.
I don't believe you're much of a golfer. Neither am I by any means. But if you were a golfer, what have you heard about the golfing here in Evergreen?
Well, you got the private course of Highwan, which is a really nice course, and then you have the public course here right by the lake. I hear it's really awesome. Just beware of the elk, especially in the rut season. Don't be that stupid tourist that gets got by an elk.
I try to pet the elk.
Yeah, no Instagram moments for you. But I hear you can drive like Billy Madison because we're higher altitude and it just soars. So
That's what I need. I need the most help I can get. So I want to pick your brain on something. So above the golf course, up Upper Bear Creek Road.
Yep.
Some of the coolest houses I've ever seen. Talk to me a little bit about that area.
Yeah, it goes back to Witter Gulch, which connects to Stagecoach, but that is kind of one of the original roads going back there. So you will get a mix of just kind of original homesteads back in there from like the mid 1900s. But then on the right, I call it like the Beverly Hills of Evergreen.
Crazy.
Like castles, mansions. Like
Literally castles. We're not exaggerating. I'm going to try to get drone footage of it, but I mean, it's a little tight in there. But
yeah, crazy.
The houses are fantastic.
Crazy, amazing houses. And also behind us on Bear Mountain here, you have bottom to mid area is kind of like some of the original homesteads. So they're small driveways, but once you get to the top, just ridiculous, some gated communities back in there, and they have ridiculous views of the Continental Divide, Mount Blue Sky, everything like that.
So talk to me about, I understand when we're talking about Evergreen, you've got, your neighborhoods that are close to downtown where you can walk down there, get down there in 10 minutes. You could also be somewhere where you're 20, 25 minutes from downtown. So talk to me a little bit about some of the neighborhoods that aren't downtown, that are kind of on the other side of Evergreen, maybe closer to I-70, and kind of what your thoughts are there.
So there's definitely two different types of living in Evergreen. The north side, you're gonna find a lot of like Highwan by the country club over there. You can find a lot of public water, public sewer. Property is gonna be about a half acre or so. Most homes are built around like 1990s. And then when you go south of the lake, you're gonna get more more septic. If you go back Shadow Mountain, Brook Forest Road, you're going to be tucked in the trees. Those are some of the areas that we're finding it a little bit harder to find property fire insurance because they're nestled in the forest. But that's, when I'm talking to clients looking to move up here, I always ask them what level of mountain living are you looking for? Because the road, the access, how far you drive out is, that will change the lifestyle that you have in your day-to-day.
So a couple factors that are often brought up when people are thinking about Evergreen. One, they're talking about the proximity Evergreen has to Denver itself. The fact that they can get down to Denver in 30 to 45 minutes, they like that. Second, they're thinking about how close they want to be to Evergreen's downtown area, because the fact is it's a different experience if you're within walking distance or say 5 to 10 minutes to the town, as opposed to if you are further into some of these truly mountain neighborhoods where you might have a 15, 20, 25-minute drive to get to the heart of Evergreen, and you might have an hour-long drive to get down to Denver. And when people are looking at homes in Evergreen, you have to understand that as you get farther into those mountain communities, that's where you're going to deal with more properties that have a well, are on septic, internet connection, maybe a bit different than if you're living closer to town. Some of your amenities, your ability to get resources faster, all different. So if you're used to mountain living to an extent, or you've experienced that, you might be prepared. If not, you really have to do your due diligence, because it is a different style of living. And if you're not prepared for it, you are going to set yourself up for failure. I've certainly talked to enough folks who made it through one winter in the mountains and then decided it's not for me. So you really need to be ahead of that in your preparation. I know what you're thinking. Evergreen's pretty awesome. Let's hear what Sean has to say about it. So one of the things I've always found fascinating about Evergreen is that it's mountain living, but you're not necessarily, an hour into the hills. You have relatively pretty quick access going back to Denver.
Yeah.
Your own experience, you lived in Denver, you moved up to Evergreen. People love the mountains when it's sunny out, when the snow is melted. Talk me through a winter in Evergreen.
Great question, because that is where your access, your driveway, if you're on the north side of the hill compared to south facing, which gets way more sun, that changes the experience a lot. But I'd say overall, if you can know where your closest county maintained road, that's where it's going to be, smooth driving if you can get to that. And then if you see a school bus sign on your road, that is a great sign, because that's going to be one of the roads to hit first.
Okay, because they have to make sure that a school bus can get up it, so they're going to take care of the road. See?
Yeah.
It's kind of stuff a lender wouldn't know. All right, so you've heard some of the wonders of Evergreen, but let's talk through some of the reality, some of the challenges. So, obviously we touched on winters, and that's going to shock. I mean, I think even people who are used to cold, snowy weather, they're still going to have some learning to do.
Yeah.
But talk to me about some of the other challenges that you're finding as you're moving up to a mountain town like Evergreen.
Well, the biggest thing is you're not going to be able to get your Grubhub or your Uber Eats delivered. Is not going to happen. Even going down to the airport, getting an Uber, pretty much not going to happen. If so, I've had some people accept my ride, and then they see how far I am, they decline my ride. So
coming back from Denver up to Evergreen?
Well, that's a little bit easier, but trying to catch a ride from your house to the airport, it's actually,
gotcha.
For me, it just makes more sense for me to drive to the airport, park my car, park in the Pikes Peak lot, which is at $7 to $8 a day. And then, the drive, the Uber ride there is going to be about $60 anyway. So if you add that up there and back, you might as well just park your car there. Other things would be it's a little bit colder, especially if you're in the Evergreen proper area, it's not as bad. But if you get into Forest Estates, Floyd Hill, Bear Mountain, where you're a little bit higher elevation, those areas will stay colder, longer, and the drive down can be a little bit tricky at times. I'd say one of the biggest cons, if you're balling on a budget, is the price point. Evergreen is higher price point compared to Conifer, Bailey. The further you get away from the city, the pricing drops, but since you have such a great location here in the mountains, but proximity to Denver, average listing price is over $850,000. So especially if you're a first-time home buyer, it's a tough area to crack into. Worth it, but it's just unaffordable to some people.
What are your thoughts on someone that has never owned a home making their first home a mountain property in general?
I think it's fine. There's just a couple extra things to know and look for, but there's plenty of smaller cabins out here if you're okay with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath or something, starter home type thing. You could still find something around $550, $650. They're not going to be glamorous at all. You might not have the view or the access that you want, but you will be in the mountains. And if your house isn't that nice, that's fine, because that's why you're in the mountains. Get out of your house and go do one of the many activities.
I think that's a huge point. When you're living in the mountains, and one of the things we always talk about in Colorado, and I know we're annoying about our 300 days of sunshine and all that stuff, but it's a state that makes you want to get outside. And when you see Evergreen, I don't know if there is a town anywhere near Denver that is as pretty as Evergreen is. Between the lake, between downtown, the mountains, everything, it comes together. You also have you know, this lake that we talked about that is just such a central point where you can come out, you're ice skating and ice fishing in the winter, you're out on a paddle board, boating, you know, a bunch of boats here on the pier. It's just a community where you could have an amazing house. You might not spend a lot of time there.
I'll give you a fun fact about Evergreen Lake is it's not a natural lake. It is a man-made lake. They put the dam in I think the 1960s, and what I hear is that there are still buildings that were here before they flooded it underneath the lake. Fun fact, right?
So, I mean, other than the fact that we're in such an ugly place,
Place sucks.
what are some other negatives that you can make up about Evergreen?
I'd say with your pets, just need to watch them.
Yeah,
you have
that's real.
Wildlife, you know, cats. I have some clients that they have their cats will go outside, but sometimes your outdoor cat will turn into a predator snack. So you'll see cats are typically indoor cats, and dogs, they'll usually have a small fenced-in area so they can let them out. We do get some mountain lions, not that often, but you do see them on the Ring cameras. So that's the benefit of having a Ring camera, is that you get to see who's coming through your neighborhood, the fox, the elk, the deer, black bear every now and then we'll get a mountain lion.
If you were to kind of off the top of your head rank your 5 favorite neighborhoods, doesn't have to be in any particular order, any thoughts there?
Oh, I like that question. All right, I'm gonna go Soda Creek because it's across the street from Bergen Park. That's where they hold a lot of the festivities and festivals, and it's not far from the rodeo and everything like that. Second, I would say Buffalo Park Road. That's past Three Sisters. There's more equestrian properties. A lot of people are out there on like 5+, 6+ acres over there. And so those 2 areas, because you get a good nice spread. After that, I like the Highwan Hills area, which is just up north of the lake. I like it because I find that homes are a little more charming and a little bit older. Whereas like Highwan, I'm just not a big Highwan fan because they're like just really nice, kind of grandiose, like higher end homes. They're a little bit like too nice. It feels like too much of a community. I like a house with a little bit of charm, maybe some ghosts and stuff like that.
Yeah, some history to it.
Yeah. After that, I like Evergreen Meadows down on 73.
It's one of my favorite.
Yep. I like the south side there of Evergreen because you can also get to 285 quicker at Aspen Parks. There's some good shopping there. So I feel like it's just a great in-between spot. You get access to the lake, and then 285, which is a little bit less busy. And then finally, I'd say if you want more of like a wilderness feeling, back like Shadow Mountain, Brook Forest Road back in there, you get some views. It feels more foresty. Like I said, negative would be like property insurance can sometimes be a little bit persnickety over there, but there you really feel like you're in the woods, but you still are 12 to 15 minutes back out to the lake here.
And Sean's mentioned this a couple times as we've talked. Homeowners insurance can be challenging in certain areas, mountain properties in general. A lot of different factors at play, obviously fire risk being a major one. So something you're just gonna wanna pay attention to, especially if you are considering buying a house as opposed to renting one. And I know a lot of times when I'm having conversations with people about the mountains, and Sean will have some of the same experiences. Like people, like you don't want somebody telling you what to do. You wanna experience the mountains. You wanna be free. And Highwan neighborhoods, they will have an HOA. They will have a bit more control of the folks that live there. Now, I mean, roads will be maintained. You're around some good schools. Obviously, there's some perks. There's some reasons why a lot of families want to live there. But it is one of the unique neighborhoods of Evergreen in the fact that with that HOA, you're not in total control the way you might want to be in other mountain areas. Overall, obviously, a very popular community, one of the best quote unquote mountain towns in the Denver metro area with the access it does, the beauty it has. Sean, I can't thank you enough for joining me today. Fantastic. And our information here for you at any time, here to answer any questions. There's nothing Sean and I enjoy more than helping folks find their perfect home here in Colorado. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. This is Sean Murphy. I'm your host, Jimmy Everett. Until I see you next time, peace.
See ya.